Adapted from issue 65 of the Magpie newsletter, February 2007. The Green Hills of Mitcham Common. Mitcham Common should be perfectly flat. The hills and ponds are all totally man-made. Until relatively recently, open spaces were not valued as havens for wildlife, but as resources to be exploited. The Victorians dug out enormous quantities of gravel for road building, which lowered the surface of the common over vast areas, leaving the original roads like Beddington Lane standing high above the surrounding land. The larger gravel pits they left behind have become today's ponds. Gravel extraction stopped in 1891 when the common was entrusted to a board of conservators, who then leased out the greater part of it to use for golf. After the war, golf was confined to the area south of the Croydon Road, leaving the northern part a tempting unused site. Tipping of domestic rubbish started in 1950 on quite a small scale to create football pitches behind Mill House, but soon escalated to produce the high ground on both sides of Cedars Avenue, and lastly the huge mound of Mill Hill next to the Seven Islands Pond. This was intended to be twice the size, but public outrage stopped tipping. But not for long. In 1968, Mill Hill was capped by 10 feet of subsoil clay, excavated when building the Pollard's Hill estate. 10 years later, when Sutton was being rebuilt, builders' rubble and soil were tipped at the Croydon end of the common to make the massive hills we see today. The earlier tips are now 60-odd years old and have blended in well with the natural vegetation, but Mill Hill and the new hills are relatively young. They have different soils, some of it clay or chalk, which favour different plants. They are mown every year to produce wildflower meadows, which are becoming attractive, especially near the One Island Pond. The emphasis today is on conserving wildlife and wild places. Great efforts are being made to maintain and encourage those areas of natural vegetation that still remain, the heathlands and acid grasslands, which are the real treasures of the common. In other areas, woodlands are springing up, softening contours and producing shady walks, and things improve year by year. Few commons can boast such a variety of habitats, each area with its own special characteristics. Explore it. You may well be surprised.